Get everybody's attention.
Everybody, could I have your attention, please? I am the public announcement system. How you doing, everybody? My name is Chuck Page. I am currently the chair of the City of Saratoga Wildfire Public Safety Task Force. And on behalf of Dave, I'd like to welcome you all here. As we've most recently seen in the last month or so, fire is an imminent danger. No matter where we are, but we've learned to build houses in places where they never used to. And California has been ravaged by fire for thousands and thousands of years. We now have to take extra steps to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect ourselves. For the last year, our Public Safety Task Force has developed a plan for within the city to help educate our citizens and the residents of nearby communities so that we can do that. So I hope that you all, I know that you all are here because you recognize that there is a danger, and but there are things that we can do. And I hope that throughout the rest of today, throughout the rest of the presentations, you're going to hear some of that, and hopefully we'll all be able to take action together. I hope that this becomes the first FireWise community within the city of Saratoga to get approved. And I suspect that because of what's recently happened, that there's an extra energy and an extra force behind what we're going to do, and we're going to be able to put it together as quick as possible. So again, my name is Chuck Page. I'm here to answer any questions later, but I know that we've got a slew of speakers, both live and then over the web, I guess. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. And thank you all for being here.
I'll introduce me. You got it. Okay. Woohoo! The only time you get to take it off. I'm Eugenia Redler, and I'm the Managing Director at the Santa Clara County FireSafe Council, and I'm here to talk to you about FireWise today. So I've been doing this since 2011. Oh my gosh, it's already that time. 2011, and our mission and our goal is to help communities help themselves, basically. We want to mobilize communities to do wildfire prevention so that we're not doing wildfire mop-up. And I also have a couple of my staff members here. Tara and Dusty are in the back. And Chief John Black has come with me from County Fire. He's our liaison. He helps all our... He helps us through the process of our FireWise because we interact together and you get assessments from the fire agencies too. So let's see if we work. Are we, oh gosh, ready for slides? Yay, here we are.
You get advantage.
Is it the computer or the... computer or the phone, or where are we pointing it?
You don't have to point it anywhere. Somehow did they come out? Well, how's that?
I'm not working with that either.
Oh, the computer's the problem.
It's always the case.
Okay,
So
you're in
this is
charge.
where you put
of
up the little Technicolor screen that you used to see on
I wonder if I
television.
should unplug it.
Well, you can unplug it if you want. It doesn't. Yeah. I'm using the computer. Oh,
There
there we go.
Hey, look, here we are. This picture should look familiar to at least a couple of us in the room. This is a SCU fire on the hill as you're over here in Saratoga looking out across the valley.
Should work now.
Okay, got the tools back again. As you know, the past few weeks have been absolutely crazy in our county. We are setting infamous records almost daily right now. We're up to, I'm going to ballpark today, correct me if I'm wrong, it's about 140 on the CZU and 360 or 70 on the SCU.
I didn't look at the latest totals. The last I saw for Santa Cruz, there was about 86,000 acres.
Okay.
And in the SCU complex, with the way those fires all burned together, I want to say they were, if not over 300,000, they're bumping that.
I think they broke 350.
Okay.
So anyway, quite a bit. We're at over 1,000 structures, over 1,200 between the two. We've now passed Loma Prieta earthquake from '89. So that is sobering. Like I said, I'm the managing director. There's my information. My cards are here. We're going to do a Q&A at the end. Another person you may hear from is Lynn Sestak. She's a FireWise leader. She helps my communities through, and Tara and Dusty are just getting ready to be FireWise leaders so that we can help all of you. So FireWise is a national program, and you can see here, there's over 1,500 sites across the country, and it's all a grassroots effort that communities put together. We can't bring you through the recognition and the effort process. You guys all get to drive your own process in your own community. It can be communities that are brand new to wildfire prevention, as they don't even know how to weed whip their grass on the side of their roads, to communities as far along as the Cadillac that Paul is brought up here to show us later on with the water cannon. So it's all ranges. It's driven by where you are and where you want to go to work on wildfire prevention. Here's our county. In 2017, there was no FireWise communities in our county, and FireSafe, Santa Clara County FireSafe Council decided to roll out a support program. And since then, we've had a dozen of you in here, and there's 8 more people, there's 8 more communities working on it. My goal is to blanket these 2 mountain ranges like a quilt covered in FireWise communities. So I'm just getting started. Why be FireWise? Why not just do your own defensible space and forget it? The single biggest risk to your structure is your neighbor's burning structure. I know that happened with lightning strikes, and I know that you've heard of arson and other reasons, some human-caused ignitions, but your biggest risk to your house is your neighbor's house. So FireWise takes you from the individual up to the neighborhood and community level. The safer you make your communities together, the safer your individual houses are. Neighbors are working together. It's voluntary. Whoops, I want the pointer. It's voluntary, so you don't have to have everybody on your street and everybody on your block to get started. And what we're finding is that about renewal year 2 or 3, we suddenly get a jump in participation because people are realizing that we're serious. We really want to do something. Where else are we? It's a means to decrease risk for you and also for your first responders. If the roads are wide enough and cool enough for you to get out, it means they're wide enough and cool enough for them to come in. And we want to be working on them coming in to fight fires. We don't want them to be coming in to have to triage your house, help you get out, do rescues. We want to help them help you. So that's a lot of what we're doing with FireWise. It also increases your compliance. We have ordinances here that say you have to take care of your defensible space. And even though not every house gets inspected every year, there are ways to encourage you. We're the carrot. We're going to help you. We're going to give you free stuff. We're going to teach you how to do it. But there is a stick. If the defensible space work doesn't get done, the cities can come in and do it for you, attach it to your property taxes. The fire agencies can come in and cite you. So we're trying to get out ahead of that. Okay, why participate in FireWise? It's a framework for action. You guys might want to work on, the back 50 and cut down the eucalyptus trees, and you guys might want to work on the evacuation route, and you want to cut a new evacuation route over the hill over here where it drops down to the riding arena. Well, this provides a framework so you can all get your goals in. You can map out how to get them done. We can do the easy stuff first, collect that momentum, and plan a multi-year goal. So that's one of the biggest things about FireWise, is it provides a framework, and it also provides some accountability so you know what steps to take. It reduces risk. It includes a lot of evacuation planning. What I've discovered is that's not in the national program, but it's what we want in our county. Everybody talks about evacuation in our county. So the FireSafe Council support program has added evacuation planning. Peace of mind. Everybody wants a little peace of mind. It's been a nerve-wracking last few weeks. We find it's community building. You're out there working with your neighbors. You're taking care of your neighborhood. You're getting to know your neighbors. So that's good because their neighbors are going to be there before the first responders can get there. So if you need help with something, it's your nearest neighbors that have the closest access to you. So you want to build community. It adds safety. FireWise also helps you have access to professional assistance. Sorry, this bug really likes me. And potential grants. We liaison with all the fire departments in the area. We offer grants. We write grants sometimes specifically for FireWise communities to help you with your goals. So you get backup. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. And it potentially improves your ISO insurance rating. Should we let the farmer's agent take it away, or should I have a stab at it? He's on the phone. I'm picking on you, Chuck. You're not going for it?
No.
All right. Okay. So these guys aren't actually a public office or a government agency. They're actually a private corporation, the Insurance Services Office, and they get to assign you all and your property's numbers based on your wildfire risk and a million other kinds of risks. And there's not too much you can do about it, but it does affect your insurance renewals. The one little sliver where you can affect what number gets assigned to you in your neighborhoods is response time. So there's a few things you can do individually. Make it easy for them to find your houses, make it easy for them to get up your roads and driveways, and then collectively lobby your county officials to make sure that you're paying for the best equipment, the most amount of training hours, the most modern equipment, because that all goes into your response time, which goes into your ISO rating. You can't move your mountain somewhere closer, but you can make sure that they can get here as quickly as possible on an individual level and a community level. And FireWise ratings in other states actually help people save their homeowners insurance. There's 7 states that give discounts for FireWise communities, and they lower these numbers. In California, the Department of Insurance says that that's not fair because not everybody can get a FireWise rating. If you're down in the urban areas, you can't be a FireWise community. You have to be up here in the wildland-urban interface. So the discounts aren't available here, but you can see the concept is still solid if 7 other states worth of insurance carriers are willing to lower your premium for it. We know it works. Okay, 6 easy steps. Here you are. You're ready to form a board or a steering committee because you're all here, so that's great. For a road, there's 24 houses on this road, right? 27 houses on this road. So for a group of 27, we recommend a committee of between 3 and 5. Depends on who wants to do what and how much time people want to put in it. You want to obtain your wildfire risk assessment. That's something that Chief Black and I will help you with. They recently this year just allowed trained FireSafe Council and other trained fire risk personnel to help you with this. So when our fire folks get really busy, unfortunately, we can still do this. We used to kind of stall in the fall because they were all called out onto fire season, but now we've overcome that. And it's a walkthrough of the neighborhood, and you fill out this 9-page document that talks about roof types and the width of the road, and can I see the numbers on your house? It gives you a whole perspective from someone else's view and someone who's not familiar with it. One of the big things that we learned in this last 2 weeks is the mutual aid people are still struggling. We're still not marked up well. They're coming in from Colorado, they're coming in from other places. This is the first time in 40 years the National Guard had to come fight fires in California. And they don't know where they're going. And we're not doing a good job at helping them get there. So that's part of what goes into your community risk assessment. Evacuation signs, street signs, reflective numbers on the houses, things like that. Educational event. That's an easy one. It can be something just like this. It can be a wildfire evacuation workshop. We have those already ready to go. We've been giving them for a few years. I've given dozens of them. And it's a neighborhood-based, including your map and your phone numbers and your email list of how to help each other get out of here if we need to, how to pack a go bag, the kinds of things you do to prep your property when you leave. We also have a defensible space workshop. We can teach you how to do defensible space around your structures. So we have several that can be just used canned from us. You can make your own, or we can help you develop one. We've got another one that's fire resistant landscaping. So there's a few different ones that we can help you meet your education obligation. The last 3 steps, Develop a multi-year action plan. Some of this comes out of the assessment that we'll help you do, the list of the easy stuff and the harder stuff and the things you need to coordinate for, maybe you need permits for, things like that, or you need to get county roads or whoever involved to help you. The wildfire risk investment, nobody in California has trouble meeting this. It's 1 hour per residence per year. So this community needs 27 hours or the equivalent of 27 times $35. So as soon as you've trimmed your first brush, you've already met this one. But there's other places across the country it's a little bit more challenging. And finally, create your account and file your application. So, and these do not all have to be done in this order. Mostly we recommend starting with the assessment because it kind of tells you where you need to go, but the rest of these can be done out of order. Some of the things you can do is work days. So these are a compilation of a bunch of different work days that we have. Education day we've talked about. Evacuation practice. We have 2 styles of this that we've seen people use. One of them is to the end of the driveway, and it's like a timed event for your family, and everybody, they put together little prizes or whatever in the neighborhood, and you get the drill, you get the phone call, the pretend phone call, and you go. You pack your go bag, you get your animals, you'll load everybody up, you pack your car. You wouldn't believe that how hard it is to get it all in there. And you drive to the end of your driveway, and you get ranked on how long it takes you to do that. So it's kind of evacuating to your own property. That's what and then the other one we do, we have actual practices where we set it up with the roads department or the fire department or whoever, and you actually evacuate all the way out to the end of your neighborhood. Chainsaw Day, this was a fun one. I had a community that is up off of Summit, and they have a firefighter that lives in the community, and he helps the people in the neighborhood with chainsaw, cutting things up that need to be cut. They've got, you know, more redwoods and oak and things up there. And then he found out there was somebody else in the neighborhood who was also good with the chainsaw. So they have Saturday morning chainsaw day where they will just volunteer their hours of time for the Saturday, and they'll go around and help whoever needs it. So the people have prepped their properties and cut things down and move things, and they come and cut it up. So, and then someone else does something else to support Chainsaw Day. Maybe you're the cookie baker or the sandwich maker or who, you know, whatever it is. Can you see the fire hydrant in this picture? That is a fire hydrant. So another idea for our community was they went through and they found all their fire hydrants and they clipped everything around their fire hydrants, and then they turned the teenagers loose with a bucket of reflective paint and they painted all their fire hydrants or water riser pipes. So super important, because John's from Colorado and he comes rolling in here in his rig with, he's got his Avenza thing going and his GPS going. Where's the water source? So this seems small. It's not that hard to do. Middle schoolers, high schoolers and up. It's really important in the dark and smoke to be able to find the water. So here's another good one to get younger kids involved. Most people have played I Spy or heard of I Spy. Turn them loose. See if they can I Spy all the house numbers. Again, first responders, earthquakes, ambulance. They can't find you. They can't help you. Neighborhood assistance. This is a group that put together a spreadsheet of everyone who didn't have a computer or didn't have a car. And they got partners in the neighborhood. Everybody got a partner. So they had, if you didn't have a computer and you weren't on email, you had a phone call buddy in their telephone tree. If you didn't have a car, you got a buddy of someone who had transportation. So tour the hood. This is walk your street. I saw some of you walking your street up here. Just take a walk, meet, say hello to people you haven't met, get to know each other, get to know who has which resources, who's got a backhoe, who's got a chipper, who's got a chainsaw, who knows how to use that kind of stuff, who knows CPR, where are your resources in your neighborhood. And the pack your go bag event, that was the one I described to get to the end of the driveway. Even if you can't do defensible space work, even if you can't cut the berry bushes, mow the grass, that kind of stuff, it doesn't mean you can't contribute to FireWise for your community. There's record keeping that needs done. The people that are doing the work need fed. Okay, the flies are winning. The people that, you know, there's in Chemaquita Park, we've got a much older gentleman who about 2 o'clock in the afternoon loads up the back of his pickup truck and drives through as the beer run. So everybody that's been doing all this work, they get a beer out of the back of the pickup truck. There's a million different things you can do. Green bins was also a really neat idea that this very crowded little neighborhood did, where they discovered that about half of them didn't have all the green bins that were covered by their garbage bills. So the people who had room for them maxed out the amount of green bins that they were allowed to have, and they put them facing out, and anybody was free to fill them. So you fill 3 extra green bins times 10 or 12 houses every week. That's, imagine the square yardage of brush that builds up. So somebody who likes to organize events, somebody who never wants to say anything but types really fast. We've got a lady that types 130 words a minute. She just volunteered for this job. I'm going to keep her. Tracking all those investment hours we talked about. That's a super important thing. You have to submit it. So there's ways to support your community FireWise process without getting out there with a machete or a weed whacker. And here you are, you made it, have a party. They give you this nice sign, you put it down at the entrance or up somewhere else that you want it, you get 2 of them. And it reminds you each year, because fire safety and vegetation management is maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. You gotta keep doing it. So you keep doing this every year. You get a little bit further in, you start to learn how to limb up the trees on your road, because I'm sure Chief Black and I both saw a couple spaces coming in where we're hoping not to drive past those when they're on fire. So that's what, and here we are. So this is that tangle of words. We're the FireSafe Council, and this is the FireWise program. And it's easy to get those 2 things mixed up when you're trying to Google search for things and stuff. So we help you get through the FireWise process. We're your FireWise coach. We have the education and planning events for the 6 steps. We do a lot of the risk assessment scheduling for you, so you don't have to trade emails forever. We can help. We also have a moderated steering committee forum. So all of your steering committee members are in the same Groups IO forum with lots of other steering committees who've already done it successfully. And we also have Santa Cruz and Santa Clara County side, Cal Fire in there, Los Altos Hills Fire in there, county fires in there to answer your questions. And they give us a lot of great stuff, and it all becomes a record. So if you want to go look up what tree ordinance affects you, it's in there. If you want to go see what you should do when you leave a ladder against your house, you leave your door unlocked, it's in there, because people have asked those questions already. So that is turned out to be a huge asset to your steering committees. We have the Education Day programs, I already mentioned those, are already ready to go. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have a free chipping program that you may or may not have heard of, where you can put in an application with us in the spring, usually in March, and we will bring the chipper through the neighborhood. So you haul it out to the street or the edge of your driveway and that kind of stuff, and we'll send the chipper, and they'll spend the day on your road chipping all the debris that you've created in your management. I'm a liaison with your regional coordinator, so if your application gets stuck or rejected, I can help fix that. So far, I haven't lost anybody yet. I've had a couple that had to do it twice, but so far we've gotten everybody through. And Tara and Dusty and I are mean. We're gonna bug you. You promised. You said you're gonna get it done. Your 18 months are up. So that we provide some accountability to keep the momentum going. And this is your portal of how to get on and how to create your account. And like I was saying earlier, not all the steps have to be done in order. I actually encourage you to start your account early, because they have these really great flyers. I think that Dave probably emailed one out to you. I sent a sample, and it talks about roof sprinklers and events and the types of fencing to not put up and run up next to your structure. They really break it down and give you good pictures and exact things, like the exact size of screen they want on your house, these kinds of things. So I encourage communities to sign up early and use the portal through the whole process. And that brings us to a much more exciting part of the evening with Paul and the super water cannon. No, actually, we'll take any FireWise questions and then we'll go water the hill. Anyone?
So how do we get people to sign up, be on the council, to be on the steering committee?
To be on the steering committee, you go to your neighbors and you twist their arm, Dave, and you say, you're it, and you're it, and you're it. So
So we're
really-
gonna need some volunteers.
Right,
I
you
think
need
it's
about
a
3 to
minimum
5
of 8
people.
houses?
Hmm?
Did I hear that it took 8 houses? What's the
So
minimum?
So participants, you need at least 8 houses to participate, to do, to do the investment hours and to do all that. The investment hours count for your total houses, so it's 27 hours, but you need at least 8 people to do it this year. So 8 people have to do at least 27 hours, or you could all get in. We have a few that are 100%.
And if you hire somebody to do the work.
It
that
counts. So what doesn't count is maintenance. Your regular trimming, your regular lawn mowing, that kind of stuff, that doesn't count. So, but you absolutely can hire someone and put the invoices in the investment instead of doing it yourself, absolutely. So those were excellent. And this size, you need a steering committee of about 3 to 5. So you're looking for skills like a record keeping person, an outreach person. Those are the main things that you want. Somebody who's at least technological enough to get in the portal and wander around in there, and keep a Excel spreadsheet and things like that.
We need, from each household, we need an email address.
And
You all got
that-
an invitation in the
yes.
postal mail.
Yep.
And it's much easier to send out flyers and information on email too. We'll need to get an email address. And we're also gonna be twisting some arms or asking you to volunteer tonight if you're willing to be on the steering committee.
You want email addresses anyway, because you want to help each other in the future. You want to be able to communicate with each other. If someone gets an alert, you don't, you want to hear from them, and vice versa. The other thing that we're starting to discover communities doing is setting up a WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp groups were a huge help during this last fire. You make a protocol. The only time you use the WhatsApp group is when you've got an emergency. You talk about what emergencies are. They've even let the teens in the WhatsApp too. So they've done young adults and up with their WhatsApp. That's one example I'm thinking of. And they were able to spray fire retardant on 8 of their 10 houses while they were under mandatory evacuation before they left because of WhatsApp. So we super recommend it. It's easier than checking your emails. It comes into your phone like a text message. So you get alerted. It's right there. You can read it right there and you can answer it right there. So that's become a tool it's been really, really helpful this last month. So emails, and if somebody wanted to be the WhatsApp moderator.
Text messages.
Yeah.
WhatsApp, emails for distributing
Yeah,
notices.
yeah, things like that. So don't everybody raise your hand at once.
Other people.
Okay, if you don't raise your hand, we're volunteering you automatically. Still didn't work. Okay. Here we are at the Q&A. What else do we have? Anything else that you can think of? You have a dedicated fire chief. Come on, let's get some good questions going.
I can answer any question you guys might have, and if I don't know the answer, I'll make something up.
That's my line. I'll make it up.
I have questions.
Yes.
On the fire retardant, so you said 8 out of 10 houses were able to spray with fire retardant? I never even heard about spraying your house with fire retardant. How did you do that?
I am not quite sure where he got the barrels. Like I don't know. I have to get the rest of the story. But somewhere they bought the barrels. I don't know if he had pre-purchased them. And he said,
Did they
you know,
get sprayed from the air or?
no, with a hose.
So they
The
make,
hose.
there are commercially available products. One's called FireSafe. And the best way I can explain it is it's very similar to how you might use an insecticide that you run a garden hose through. There's a container of solutions, hook up to your garden hose. The one thing that you want to emphasize is if you get into that mandatory evacuation, depending, and it's a judgment call on the homeowner's part, but we don't want you to delay leaving, because there's several neighborhoods. This is kind of one of them. I was the engine. I'll just come up there. I don't like being in front of groups.
I know. Your web audience would like to see.
Oh. Okay. Hello. So I was the engine captain at Saratoga station for about 5 years before I promoted to battalion chief. There are neighborhoods, one way in, one way out. And what sometimes we'll do is provide a little bit of drain time, is a way to explain it, for the residents to leave, so that we're not meeting people nose to nose on a one lane or tight road. So in the event that you find yourself under that mandatory evacuation order versus an evacuation warning, the best thing you can do is not to delay. But in that prep piece and in that set piece, there are things that you can do. And depending on your home and your water supply and the topography of the area, having that type of product, while we don't supply it, it's not a terrible idea.
Yes, and if I said the order part, I apologize. It was the warning part, not the order part. So there's 2 layers. First, you get your warning, where you're getting everything packed and ready, and then you get your order, which means go. So they were doing their prep during the warning, not the order. Apologies.
That's okay.
That was a really good question, because I never heard of this fire retardant. How long does it last for you? Do you do it at the minute that you need to evacuate, or can you just do it all the time? Or is it gonna
So
cost
it's not something that I would use all the time, and really it depends on the product. Each product has a different, if you want to call it a half-life, where it may or may not stay as long as you might want it to, and you may end up using a lot of it to never have the fire get to your house. The thing that we used to carry them on a couple of our fire engines, and we stopped because of the upkeep for that particular product. If you didn't shake it once a month, it would gel up, and then it wouldn't work when you needed it to. So like I said, we don't, as county fire, we don't necessarily endorse its use, but there is research out there that says it can help.
The other thing I've been told with other people that I've done this with is it's really slippery. So it's not something that you're going to want to put down all the time, because if you fall while you're evacuating, now you have a different set of problems. So it's a pretty precise use and time that you want to apply it.
Jenny and I have worked together on a couple or several of the FireWise communities, mostly in the Lexington Basin, Redwood Estates, Chemiqueta Park, where the topography is a little different and the fuel loading is a little different. But the biggest takeaway I think that the FireWise communities have is that the community piece that you spoke about, and getting to know your neighbors and having those connections and establishing that close knit, neighbors helping neighbors thing before the emergency hits. And in this county, we all know it's not just the wildfire piece, even though that's what this is focused on. It's, who remembers the President Day storms in 2017, where trees were blowing down and people were trapped behind power lines that were across a roadway. Well, maybe you're at work and the neighbors at home and you didn't have their contact information before, but now they can go and check on your kids if you and your kids are separated and you can't get to them.
Earthquakes.
It's the prep piece. The best thing that you can help the fire department do is get ahead of time that defensible space around your home. Get the address markers and the numbers up. Help us help you. Because one of the things that we found is when things like what happened this month happen, we don't necessarily always have the amount of resources that we hope we're gonna have, because we have fires all over the place. So anything you can do to help us be more effective is a huge win.
So how many people have pets? Do you have a plan for your pets? Your neighbors know where your pets are. If you are at the grocery store, the office, the school, wherever. So that's enough. All right, I got one. Woo!
How many people have pictures of them and the pet in the same picture?
very, very important.
Yep.
How do you, when you go to pick up your dog or cat, how do they know it's your dog or cat?
So that all goes into that evacuation planning piece that, you know, we will teach with all, who's ever driven past a house with grass growing out of a gutter? You ever seen that? Yeah, if you were a happy little ember, do you think you want to land in that nice gutter? Yeah, you're gonna burn down the whole house up there. So these are all the things that we'll go through and that will help you manicure your properties and get prepared for if you have to leave. So, anybody else? I pass you the baton.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm the last speaker here. I have a lot of hats I wear in this community for fire. Help instruct on the FireSafe Council. I mean, again, the FireSafe Council, the Fire Task Force here as well, Saratoga. But today, the hat I'm wearing is as your neighbor. My community, Arrowhead, is right over there, the other side of the Saratoga Country Club, a group of about 50 homes. And I'd like to share with you my story because I think you'll find it relevant. I'm just like you, except for one fundamental difference. I've had the significant emotional event, that heart attack, wake up call, that oh my God moment. I've had that, and I want to share that with you because I think it'll put color to the discussion that we've had today. So over there, we have a private water system, or had one, and 10 years ago, the water system kept failing, and that was my first significant emotional event when I got up at 3:30 in the morning to take a red eye, and I couldn't get coffee, I couldn't take a shower, and I couldn't go to the bathroom, and that was really bad. I tried to sell the community on upgrading this broken water system for 3 years, and I failed. There's not a single person who's willing to upgrade $100,000 per home to have a new water system. On June 1st, 2013, 1 a.m. in the morning, the adjacent road to us, Maria Lane, cul-de-sac, had a bunch of kids come up to the top and shoot off what they thought was a firework of great magnitude. And it didn't work so well. It fizzled and dropped and then reignited on a house. And I jumped out of my bedroom window and I looked at that fire and I went, oh my God, I can see this thing straight away. I ran and got my kids and brought them up. By the time my wife and kids had gotten up to our bedroom, the flames were already 30 feet tall and the ashes were falling on me. It was June 1st. I had not weed-whacked my backyard. And I knew there was a direct path of fuel between that fire and my house. And that's when the emotional event happened, is when my kids in my room, I looked at them and I said, get your most precious treasures and put them in the car. You've got 15 minutes and we're out of here. That moment changed my life. Those 12 minutes when I waited for our glorious fire department to put water on it, 12 minutes was all it took. And in that period of time, I was convinced my house was going to burn down. I live right over there. And that then changed how I looked at the water system. It became a fire protection system. And to do a fire protection system, we had to get a bond, a $4 million bond through the city to do this. And to do that, we had to have a public vote, you know, write in your ballots and everything. For the first time in Saratoga's history, a public vote had a 100% positive response. Whereas I couldn't get anyone to agree with a water system upgrade, the moment it was a fire protection system and they understood the risk that our community had, they got it. And so that's what we did. Brand new $4 million water system. We enlarged the mains as they went up to the higher elevation so we can have more water supply. We put in a fiber optic digital communication system because we could at the same time. And then on top of that, we took fire protection to the next level. And we're going to do a little demonstration here. Dave and I have been talking about this for years, Jim. been part of this discussion because we're all in the same situation. I knew from that event 7 years ago that it's too easy for this place to burn down. It's just too easy, and it's getting worse every year. So what we did in our community is we actually went to the next level. We actually built a firewall, a perimeter system of water cannons. They're just giant sprinklers. Because guess what? If there isn't a Achilles heel, a kryptonite to fire, it's a good splash of water. Right? And so what we have in our community, separating our homes from Fremont Alder, which is au natural, is a row of these water cannons that shoot 300 feet of water in a dimension and 1,200 feet long to build a wall between us, the wildland, and our communities. And like Chief Black said, what we intend to do is if there's a fire over there, I was out at 2 a.m. Sunday night watching the fireworks in the hope, you can turn that off, there would not be a fire over the hill. Because if there were, and if I saw flames, we'd probably, I'll tell the fire department, we'd probably turn on our fire protection system. And in just 10 minutes, it will wet homes, trees, and the ground so sufficiently that a fire should not start, no guarantee. We have an example of the Fireboss cannon, water cannon there. That's a baby one. Ours are bigger, and we have 7 of them in a line. But the point of this is not to tell you about that system, but to try and express the concern that you should have, that I've lived for 7 years, and hope that you never have to do what I did, which is look your children in the face and tell them everything that they may find precious is going to be gone. It's going to be cremated in minutes. And I don't think anyone anticipated what the last 2.5 weeks would bring. The picture that started one was out my window across the way there, and I walked out Monday night, I guess it was, and I was stunned to see across the valley the ring of fire that we had created. And to hear the homes up here say, I can see the string of fire engines watching Big Basin. And frankly, as a father who took my kids to Big Basin all the time, I am crushed to see that part of California now gone. But we have to do something. The fire group is doing everything they can. And without our help, I just don't see how we can hope that they can keep up. It's just too hard. And so that's what this is about. It's how do you get a community together? How do you get them to really take a serious issue? Now, number 3 issue in California behind homes and traffic is fire. And how do you do something significant? If you don't clear brush around your house, you're playing with fire. If you don't use these opportunities to get everyone together and try to do something significant, you risk the night when the fire comes, and the fire department's not putting out a fire, they're evacuating people, and the structure's gonna go. Don't let that happen. There's your chance, right? So now this whole discussion here is hopefully to get you to think about fire in a very different way. It's literally over the hill, and it'd be a good time to do it now when we have a chance. Those are my thoughts. I have lots of experience in fire and communities and support of this. So if there's any questions I can address, please let me know. And they did say that we'll have wine afterwards here, I understand.
Wine and cheese.
Wine and cheese. And so we'll have some chance to talk, informally if anyone has other questions. But I think the whole takeaway from Eugenia here and Chuck, this is something we need to take very seriously. And I hope this group, and it's great to see this turnout sufficient to hopefully take action. And I think what you're going to find, the FireWise community work is very small, it's very minor. You're going to do the work anyway if you're doing natural things around your house. So you should do that. It'll save your insurance. We have major insurance issues, by the way, in our community. And if you haven't seen that, if you lose your insurance, to, if you're AAA and you happen to be one of the people on the back end of that situation, and you have to go to the FAIR program, the only other California-based insurance program. I think, Chuck, you mentioned that It's $3 million in coverage maximum, and that's everything. That's house repair and all the things.
Furniture.
$3 million, and the cost of that is $60,000 a year. That's just insurance. So those are the things we all need to avoid. California's too expensive as it is. Let's not have insurance that goes up to 5 digits. That's kind of scary. Anyway, but those are the things that we should work on now. And I'll end with the thought that what the FireSafe Council has done, I think, has pushed us to a new dimension of really taking this seriously and doing things about it. It's a supporting hand, and I think if you take advantage of that, you'll find it very worthwhile. So thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm Dave House. We have Fremont Older right here. Right here. The whole line along here is fire danger. It's fire can strike anytime. It was only luck that made lightning land on the other side of Skyline and not this side. Or we would be the people that were dealing with this. So we're serious about fire. Fire could start this way and come right down to your house. Fire could start at the bottom of the hill and come up the hill. I would say if it does, come here. We have safe places which we can make very wet, and we'll have exit out the other side. We'll show you how you can get out with your car and your pets and your animals. But our intention is to create a steering committee. We have lots of things that we can do. The steering committee will talk about it. But one thing we wanted to show you is a video here of one of the things we're doing here. You saw a fire BOS unit as you came in. Here is a fire BOS unit in operation. You see, there's a unit on our property.
And let me give some color to this so you know. So what these are, and I'll stand over here, they're high-end irrigation sprinklers, really, that shoot 150 feet in one direction, right? And in fact, you can get them from a distributor down in Salinas. It turns out they're very effective at wetting very large areas of ground. And you can set these sprinklers up with all sorts of configurations. The size, these are small ones. These are little 75-footers.
But they're portable. We can put them anywhere.
Put them anywhere, right? You can get the big fixed ones that are shoot 1,200 gallons a minute if you wanted to do that. Not recommended. But the size is variable depending on your need. The angle, the type of nozzle, all that gets adjusted. But the concept is you get 150 feet of water that shoots in this circle. It's like a rainbird. It can be a semicircle. But significantly, it isn't the water. It's the mist. These things under high pressure create an enormous amount of mist. And when you're shooting into the wind, the mist comes back on top of structures where the embers would be flowing. And so it actually is a very effective way to not only wet a structure by the mist and the water, but also protect hot embers from making their way onto the property. Now, the point here is that you can see in just a few minutes, it literally is 10, 15 max. Trees and everything are drippy wet. Ground's wet, right? That's all it takes. It's not that much water. It doesn't take water from the fire department. And importantly, something you could turn on and leave if you had to, and just let it be. Now, of course, you know, this is a very simple way to put out a defense system that could be substantial in size and do it quickly.
We can help you with that.
Yeah. So
the steering committee, this is just one of the things the steering committee can work on.
Right.
I think we have to come up with a number of ideas, a number of options. We wanted to show this because we love our trees. We love our trees, but they can create a fire. And so what we want to be able to do, we want to be able to get those trees wet. when these things go off, the trees are, it's like raining out of the tree, and you can't catch the tree on fire. Because they put out this mist, it put out any spark that's coming through. It's a wall of water in the air and a big mist that goes along with it. I'm going to turn one on here. Jim, I'm going to ask Jim to turn one on here in a minute, and you'll be able to see it, how much water it throws and how much mist it throws. Before you leave, we want to have email address, one person at least in your household, so we can communicate about FireWise. We would like to have anybody that would like to volunteer work with us on the steering committee. That would be great. And we'll get started and start signing up families and helping work together to start to protect against fire. As Eugenia said, the number one reason your house catches on fire, the number one, is your neighbor house is on fire. So we're in this together. We want to make sure that we're all safe. Jim, you want to turn it on?
Yeah, I'll turn it on. I just wanted to say one more comment. So Paul kind of got introduced to us. He's in a neighboring community over here. We have this community. We've been working with the Garretts to create basically escape routes through the top of the street through Garrett's. We're also working with the neighbors at the bottom of Villa Oaks, because we have an access that we can get out that direction too. So what we basically are going to do is daisy chain all these communities together. So Arrowhead's already done this. We would do this. We would get, the Garretts to, kind of get one of these programs, and then Villa Oaks. And so all of these areas would kind of start blossoming out. And it really just starts with us and working together, and then working with the neighbors that are further on down on Corey. And then I know we have the Binkleys here that are over on Pierce Road. And so working up Sarah Hills. If we're all doing this, we all have these defensible spaces, it's really going to help us defend and really mitigate a lot of the fire danger for us, when these things happen. It's just a matter of time. As Dave or somebody said, it was just luck that it struck over there and it struck over there and it didn't hit here. So, it's really important that we work together and stitch these communities together. So I'll turn this on to you. Dave, are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead and turn it on.
Gallons per minute does that throw?
Yeah, let me, I think I have lots of answers. Lots of details here.
Put some water.
I'm gonna stand down here so people can see.
Those are irrigation now.
Yeah, we're gonna give you some color to this particular system. What I did is I did a research of all the technologies in fire protection. And turns out this company out of Canada was the only one that had this very unique, portable yet powerful sprinkler set. This is their portable unit, which is the smallest they have. It runs about 70 gallons per minute, which isn't a lot of water. If you think about it, the swimming pool has 30,000 gallons in it. 70 a minute is not very much. But you can see what it does. The mist over here, that is what saves homes. That flying mist that comes with the breeze. And in fact, what the sprinklers do is they build a humidity dome around the area that the sprinkler is going, and that humidity is what keeps the fire from progressing. So that's really the difference. You see, they're readily available. We can buy them, get as many as you want, and string them together.
That's all.
No, this is really 1.5-inch fire hose.
You got a fire hose. I will connect to the fire hydrant.
It doesn't have to be.
And I've got the all of these.
Nozzles big enough. Everybody's got a bottle and pulling water that way. Yeah, it does. So part of it is working with San Jose Water, whoever your water supplier is. Most houses are reported.
You guys don't drain the water system.
Correct.